Hello and welcome everybody back once again to another TRACKILICIOUS GT4 stream, but it's a little bit different this time. It's going to be a bit of a coaching session. I'm your host here tonight, Mike Nause, or maybe I'm not the host tonight. Rather, I think the real host is going to be the one next to me, Amedeo Castorino, the SRO Silver Champion and a professional driver here to teach us a little something about the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo Dino Ferrari. And now my pronunciation can be made fun of. Amedeo, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for the introduction, Mike. Like also, everyone pronounce of your about the track and my name, so all good. And yeah, today we are looking at the Imola track guide on the MG. I made the lap, so I will explain a little bit how to approach this track. Like it's also a tough track because you have some bumpy curves to take, so it's not easy to nail also all the line. It's a very technical track, so I will start by turn 1 actually. We will come by a very long straight.
We'll hold on to that. We'll get into that here in a moment there, Amedeo. We got to introduce everybody here in chat beforehand. Just want to say a big, warm welcome to everyone joining us as my light keeps getting into frame. We'll get rid of that. AV6 Scott saying that I practiced that pronunciation all week. Yeah, I did actually. I'll be completely honest. I literally have been trying to practice that as well as his name, and I still managed to mess it up. So take that as you will. I'm trying my absolute best. Just wanted to say first off, big thank you to, we got a TRACKILICIOUS tie now. Neil Kerbel, shout out to Neil. We got the TRACKILICIOUS tie. The fit is on point as of a result of Neil. But a big welcome everyone. If you guys have any questions along the way whatsoever, do throw them out here. We have a professional driver and we are going to be going over Imola. You might ask why? Why are we going over Imola? Well, because we have the GT4 championship starting up next week, and if that's something that interests you and you're willing to drive in a championship, maybe you're a rookie, maybe you're getting into this a little bit deeper, and also maybe you're a veteran. We have the GT4 Rookies and GT4 Open Series starting up next Monday. !SimGrid in chat to find a link over there, and !Discord as well. And speaking of Discords, if that's something that suits your fancy, Amedeo here, he also happens to have a Discord. Amedeo, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
You want to know something about my Discord? Sorry, I missed it. Like,
yes.
You can just like, if you need some help like for coaching session for one track combo with car, like you can book a coaching session with me in my Discord. You will find like all the info, and also like you can find also some other info about some tips in general that are for free. So yeah, you can just find some useful and yeah, if you will be you need some coaching also about the setup, like yeah, you can get whatever you want by me about that. So yeah.
And I will pin a link to his Discord up at the top of the stream. You can find that for the rest of this stream up at the top. If that's something that suits your fancy, looking for some free tips, head on over to Amedeo's Discord because he has the top on the market right now. And what market? Well, it's free. There's also, I'm assuming, some non-free ones in there.
Yeah. What you said was good.
Is there also paid? Do you have paid coaching as well?
Yeah. What I said like before, that you can find like the pricing of the coaching that we have to pay for, and there are also different, like there is a monthly fee or like only one-to-one, like only one session. Of course, if you do like a monthly, like you will pay less, and you have also more support by me. So yeah, on my Discord you can find everything about that. So yeah, and if you guys have some question, like you can just ask me on Discord, on private message, whatever you prefer.
There we go. That's how you can get involved if you're looking to get a little bit better, maybe get out of the rookies. If you are a rookie looking to improve into that GT4 Open League, Amedeo might be your ticket into the big leagues. Now we have a fun fact redemption. This will be the last thing that we do before rambling and we get on into the actual track guide. Fun fact request from Pat O'Ward. Pat O'Ward is the best. We have a little fun fact here about Imola that is not quite known that much. It is, in fact, allegedly, now this is all rumors, of course, there's a Ferrari's secret tunnel that runs all the way from their headquarters in Maranello to the track. This allows them to sneak in not just extra practice laps, but also manage to maybe sneak in some cars as well. You never know. The lore here at Imola it's kind of up in the air. It's all very fancy. Secret tunnel question mark? Exactly. No one knows. It's secret, but it's not so secret now that I've spilled the beans. Now, Amedeo, let's get on into the action here and let's get into the actual feed, and hopefully it works. Black screen of anticipation before we pull up the track. There we go.
Okay, so I can go?
Yes, all you, Amedeo, take it from here.
Okay, all good. So I was talking about like here you come by the very long straight. You have to brake like around when you see these orange on the right, where you see also the Marshall, you know, that's pretty much the braking point for GT4s. You want to brake very straight and like use all the curb on the right here, as you can see. Like you want to use a lot of curbs there for taking like with more easy the corner because you have more space. Then you want also to cut a lot the inside curb there because GT4s are pretty high car, are more higher than GT3. So it's more easy to take the curbs here. As you can see, I cut a lot all those curbs. And how you do that, it's by, first of all, start to going on throttle before taking these yellow bumps. Because when you go on throttle, the front of the car will be higher. So there will be more space from the splitter of the car and the curbs. And also the wheel rate have more space to travel. And so everything will be better if you go on throttle before taking a curbs because of that.
Makes sense.
By steering a lot, the car will have more pinch. As you can see, like on the left is more like higher than on the right. So since the left part in this case is the part that is going more on the inside and taking more curb, will be a help also these things, like when you steer a lot, especially on ACC, the car is in general more stable over the curbs, so that's also help. And the thing that you have to do is cut a lot, because as you can see in this lap, like my car wall was with the inside tires touching also a little bit the grass, and the right tires was on the curbs, so like on the middle there was the bumps. So that's the better way to do it, by not touching directly with the tires, because I can show you in another lap, probably was the lap before, that I take it a bit less the inside curb, and actually I bumped a little bit more. Like you can see also I used the less track, and the car have a slightly bounce more, because if you go a bit wider, you take the yellow bumps with the tire, like as you can see in this lap. I take it with the tire and I have a small bounce. So of course you lose a bit of time also because you are a bit wider, you are not that tight as before. So that's also a thing. And we come back to the better lap.
Now, 1 second, sorry to interrupt here, Amedeo. So I just want to kind of maybe ask a question here. So first off, again, chat, if you guys have any questions whatsoever, please do not hesitate to ask. We're looking at both YouTube and Twitch chat to see any of the questions that you guys have. And regarding anything on this strap, especially here at the beginning, we have, of course, so I guess to sum this up, Amedeo, when it comes to entry, so you're looking to brake around the orange marker. I think that's step one, correct, around that Marshall post. And then on the turn-in, is there, I guess that's kind of the point that I've always struggled with, because you're saying that you always want to attack and you want to straddle the curbs. You want your center of your car to be over the yellow curbs in a way. So when you don't want your tires to make contact with those, correct?
Exactly.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So when I'm turning in, what is the best way to accomplish that?
I mean, like also you can take a bit of reference if you want for start your turning point. It's like more or less when you are at the 50 meters board, you start to turn, or you can take also as a reference before the end of the curve with the green, white, and red, and you can start to turn also a bit before of that. And then like you also start to trail the brakes, so you brake less with a lot of steer also because you don't want to lock up tires because you have a lot of steer. So if you brake too much, you will probably lock up the front tires or the ABS start to engaging a lot. So will be not good things anyway. And yeah, that's pretty much what we have to do for try to nail turn one. It's not easy also because as you said in the lap before, I was a bit wider and I lost it. So it's not easy to nail this perfect line, but that's what you can do basically. Take the reference of the orange marker, then you can start to turn a bit before of this white triangle.
Gotcha. Okay.
And that's it pretty much.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, another thing here from AV6 Scott, he's mentioning that the throttle on entry is a nice tip for GT4s in particular. Now, is that something that's different from GT4s to GT3s? Would you take that corner a little bit differently?
No, it's the same. The only thing is some GT3 are allowed to do this line. Like with the McLaren, you can do exactly the same line. Also with the AMG GT3, I think. But if you take like the Ferrari or the Aston Martin, it's a more tough car, so you have to take a bit wider line because if you cut like that, the car will jump a lot, will start to bounce a lot. But the technique of going on throttle before touching the curbs is the same with GT3, GT4, GT2, whatever you want, because it's always the same thing that you are rising the front of the car. So we'll work with every car, and honestly will work even better with GT3s because GT3s are more lower to the ground, so this thing have a higher effect.
Got
So
you.
yeah.
Got you. So your entire objective there is to get your front end to basically lift up a little bit, to clear everything, to get all the weight on the back. So when you're delivering that power, it gets you to launch out of the corner better. Is that?
Yeah, also that, but the main thing is that because the front of the car is higher, when you have to take a curb, especially you do that, like because if you like you don't go on throttle, the front will be more close to the ground. So when you have a curb, you will touch it with more like force. It will be worse, you know.
It'll
If it's
unsettle you.
higher, yeah, exactly. If it's higher, you will have also more travel by the wheel rate. So it's also that help because you don't reach like the bump stop of the car. So it help in everything. When you have to take a curb, when you don't have to take a curb, you don't always use that. So it depends on the corner. But if you have to take
Gotcha.
a curb, you kind of always do that.
Okay. Well, now that we spent enough time on the first corner, let's move into the second
Yeah.
part of the first corner.
Yeah. I mean, it's also a very important corner.
It is,
Turn
and
two,
it's not just one
yeah.
corner as well. The principles that you're saying apply to a vast majority of all corners pretty much. So we're going over more general principles in this case than specifically the corner here at Imola, but also the corner at Imola where you, like you say, basically start the braking again at the orange or the Marshall post and then try to center that car above it and straddle those curbs.
Yeah, exactly. And also in this corner it's very important to try to nail the exit because from this moment to the Villeneuve chicane you will be on throttle all the time. So if you have a bad exit now, you will lose a lot of time because you will be full throttle, kind of full throttle for a lot of time. Anyway, go to turn 2. You always stay on throttle, you just lift a little bit when you take these curves. You see like a 10%, something like that, because I'm turning while I'm taking the curbs, so the car is a bit unsettled in this moment. Like you can see that like all the load is on the left tires, the front tires I think is even a bit more on the air, or anyway it's touching just barely the track. So like it's hard to put the power on the ground in this corner, so you want to lift it just at 10% for be safe and don't lose the car when you are touching these yellow curbs. And then going for the next one, you want to turn not too late, because if you turn too late, the car, it comes to understeer and you have to lift, so you have to turn very early in this corner. You can take as a reference the curb on the left. You see, you start to turn a bit before the end of this curb, this green curb. And then you want to go also a lot on these curves, but not more than that, because if you go just a little bit more than that, you will take a warning for track limits. Like the limit is the white line on the right. As you can see, I'm just on it with the right tires. And it's the same as turn one. Basically, you want to touch it not with the tires, especially the second yellow curb. You go with the left tires over on the inside of the curb, with the right tires on the outside of the curb. So you are able to do it full throttle.
It looked like that first one you hit pretty hard when it comes to the entry or the entry, yeah, the last corner here. Is that
Yeah.
something that you're normally aiming for? Is to kind of hit that first curb and then straddle the second one, or would that be different from car to car?
With the GT4, no, I mean also with GT3, you always do that because going around this yellow curve is like you losing a lot because you have to do a much wider line, so the car is not able to close it by doing the corner full throttle. So also because the first one you are more straight with the car, so the car is able to take it a bit better. And yeah, I mean, also the second one, as you can see, you have to take it a little bit, just to try to don't take it perfectly on the middle, but more on the left as possible. But you can stay more tighter than that because if you do that, yeah, will be better because you avoid completely the yellow curves, but you take track limits. So basically,
Yep.
you can't do that. And yeah, with the GT4s, all the car are able to take it easily anyway, so it's not a
Gotcha.
problem. So there, sector one, it's over basically. There another tough part of the track. As you can see, at the 100-meter board, I'm still not braking. I start slightly to turn the wheel on the left before braking, as you can see a little bit. And you brake basically in the middle between the 50 and the 100-meter bird, as you can see. So you don't have a quite very good reference there for braking. And you brake like 100%, but you release very quickly the brake there because it's easy to lock up and you want also to have a very responsive front of the car. So if you brake 100%, like you don't have a lot of response by the car, but
Also,
you want to, yeah.
also, when you're hitting the brakes there and you're turning the wheel, we were saying you tap it because you also don't want to be braking while turning as well. You want to make sure that you're braking in a straight line the whole time, correct?
Yeah, the thing is, you want to brake in a straight line, especially when you have 100% braking force. Then while you are turning, usually you brake, depends by the corner, but like 50, 60, 20%. Usually you want to brake a bit, especially with the GT4s, especially with the AMG GT4, because these cars struggle in understeer. So when you are braking, you are putting energy to the front tires because the front of the car is going also more down. So the weight is going to the front tires. So it helping a bit to rotate the car because you have the weight on the front, so the rear of the car is more lighter. But of course, you don't have to exaggerate because if you brake like 100% with 90 degrees of steer, like you are asking too much to the tires, so you probably will lock up the tire or anyway will be not responsive because you are exceeding the grip of the front tires that they can give to you. So it's you have to try to be more close to the limit as possible without like exaggerate. That's
Yeah,
the thing.
I can't remember where I heard it one time, but I had a really good explanation. I'd love if anyone in chat knows this one because I heard it one time but you kind of have like a certain percentage, as you're saying, with your front tires and the grip they have, which is 100%. You have a maximum of 100% of grip that you can use, and if you exceed that, you're going to start sliding. You're going to start understeering. And when you're on the brakes, you're using, when you say you're on full 100% brakes, you're using almost 100% of your tires, which is why when you begin to turn the wheel, you're going to start sliding and locking up. This is something massive common mistake that rookies often make, that I see time and time again, is just braking while turning. You're using too much percentage of your front tires. You're using 120%, which means you're just going to end up going slower, and you got to stay well within the limit there and try to find that grip. And Amedeo, what's the best way to do that? I mean, I know a lot of people making mistakes is often a good way, but what's a good way? Just practicing? I mean, obviously, I
Um,
suppose.
I mean, like, yeah, the technique is basically the trail braking that you are doing because, like, more you are turning the wheel, more you release the brake. Yeah, I think you can do it also. First of all, like, have a correct setup of your brake pedals, so make sure everything is working good for you. And also think that you can try for see if your pedals are good for you, your setting of your pedals, your position on the sim rig is like you can just like while you are stopping the pit stop on the box, you can just brake 100% with your when you are stop and start to and try to release the brake and try to hit like every percentage of braking, like 100%, 99, 98, 97, 96, 95. If you're able to hit every percentage, means like your pedal is fine. If you are like going by, I don't know, 100, 95, 90, you are missing a few point of percentage. So that's kind of like a limit by your pedal. So maybe you have to work on a bit on it. And yeah, that's one thing that you can do. Another thing that you can do, it's like also for try to set your pedal properly, like without watching your software of your pedal or on the ACC game, like thinking now I want to break, I don't know, 60%, and without watching, like try to break 60% and then see how much far you are from that, because that's it's like for train also a bit your muscle memory, so that can help.
Yeah, chat, get on that. That's something that I have not done. That's something that you should do. Go back, if you guys didn't quite catch that, go back, watch that again. That's a huge tip right there. Definitely something that if you're struggling with braking and struggling with trail braking in particular, learn your equipment and get the muscle memory down in a much more controlled setting, and that's how you can do it. That's really, really good advice, Amedeo.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, sometimes like you can see it depends, because sometimes you can see trail braking very slowly, sometimes more fast, because especially when you are on the top level, you can like driver start to also do different things, like want to slide more the car on purpose for make rotate it faster. So like there are also such a different driving style. The main thing is like don't brake 100% while you are turning a lot, because that's for sure not a good thing for your front tire, because like you are going over the limit of the grip.
Gotcha. Love it.
Yeah, so going to the Villeneuve chicane, as you can see, I'm still on 20% brake for have a bit of load on the front, as I said. Then I'm going also a bit on throttle while I'm over the curb, as I said before, because it helped to absorb it better. And then you, in this corner, you want to stay tighter as possible on the first part to prepare better the second part. So, you know, you have more space to take the right corner, which is the corner that you want to do well, because you want to prepare the exit from that corner. In this moment, I'm braking 100% because I'm pretty much straight, but as you can see, I'm braking 100% just for a moment, and then I'm releasing pretty quickly and going on throttle again before hitting the inside curb. In this lap, I went a little bit wide. As you can see, I touched the gravel. I remember probably the lap before the line was a bit more clean. Like, let's see also the difference. Like, as you can see in this lap, I'm very tight as well again, and I'm going a bit more aggressively on the inside curve. That what you want to do, like more tighter you are in both left and right corner, better is, because then you are able to touch less the gravel, as you can see, and the exit is actually better. Then we go for the Tosa hairpin, where you want to brake at the end of this road or the 50 meters board, pretty much. As you can see, the breaking point is just a bit after the 50 meter or the end of this asphalt. So, of course, you want to use always all the tracks. So I'm more on the right as possible, braking 100% again. And then, as you can see, I'm already start to trail braking. I'm braking 80%, 75, and I'm start to turning more and more. Also, with this car, you turn the wheel quite aggressively because you want to force the car to slide a bit, because this car have a lot of understeer. So you can actually be very aggressively with the steer and also with the brake. As you can see, I'm 90-degree steer and 50% brake. Like for example, with a GT3, if you are that aggressively, probably you will lose the rear because you are putting all the load on the front tires, but you are not like maybe exceeding the limit. But if you have all the load on the front, the rear will be very light, so you can lose the rear and spawn the car. It also depends a lot on the setup. If you have understeer setup, you want to put like more braking while turning because you want to put load on the front to make the car rotate. If you have an oversteer setup, probably you want less brake while turning because you want more load on the rear of the tire for have stability. Because basically, when you are braking, you are asking more rotation to the car. When you are going a bit on throttle, basically you are making the car more stable. In fact, like in a fast corner, usually you can see a driver that are going a bit more on throttle just for stabilize the car more.
And I feel like that's also, if you're in a McLaren, for example, or a Porsche, this corner is going to be, as you say, you're going to be needing to probably use a little bit less throttle, I would assume, with the more mid-engine to rear-engine cars. Or would you want to be using more? Now, see, this is something I've even always struggled with.
Depends in which part of the turn you are, because like on entry, if you have a very oversteer setup, you can see also drivers. Like I made recently a race with the Honda, and in the hairpins like that in the middle of the corner, I have to start to going like 20% on throttle, but not because I want like to accelerate and exit from the corner, but just because I want to stabilize the car on entry, because the car was very oversteery, so I want to put a bit of weight on the rear.
That seems so counterproductive, doesn't it? Where it's like my car is starting to slip from the rear, so how do I correct that? By giving it more gas. Like, and you would think you would want to lift, right? That's the logical thing to do. But no, you got to be a nut and crazy in the coconut. This is what the difference between the regular driver and the esports drivers is confidence, I suppose.
Like I can tell you, like on one of my first race, like 3 years ago, like I made that mistake that I want to take a corner more safe on Suzuka on the penultimate corner, the fast left corner. I lift too much the throttle and I spun the car because of that. Because like when you lift a lot the throttle, like the car will have more rotation. So especially in a high speed corner, if you go with more throttle, actually you are more safe because you are like inducing understeer. You are putting the weight on the rear. Of course, like you are spinning the car if you go like in this moment 100% throttle. If you slam the throttle, like you will lose the car because like the rear tires are sliding all the time. But
yeah,
especially on entry, yeah, it's a thing that you do for stabilize the car actually. Like you can see by a lot of drivers doing that with like the Porsche or the Honda, the very oversteery car.
Write that down, chat. Write that down.
Yeah, so this corner also you want to prepare very well the exit because it's very important to prepare the exit before the next corner because we have a small straight, but you know it's always better to prepare the exit than go in a fast entry. So there you can go also quite aggressively with the throttle with the GT4 because of course you don't have a lot of engine. And
Sorry, nothing. Yeah. We're good.
Okay.
I thought I had a technical difficulty. We're good. Everything is good on my end.
Okay, all good. And yeah, that's pretty much what you have to do. You also like came to the apex quite soon also in this corner, and by trail braking you want to rotate the car. As you can see, I'm still on braking in the apex of the corner. Like you don't have to do the corner without braking because you will have more understeer. You have to find, you know, the limit. Then we are going for the next corner, another tough corner, maybe one of the simple actually of this track because it's a very tough track. So there you start to brake at the 50 meters board, a bit later probably, but you can take that as a reference. Yeah, it's exactly there. So in this corner, you want to rotate a lot the car on entry. It's not easy, but as you can see, I'm going very aggressively with the steer wheel. Like, I'm going by 0 to like 20 degrees directly because I want to induce an oversteer because this car is very understeering. And I'm start to trail brake, but I'm still braking like a lot, 90%. But as you can see, since I start to rotate a lot the car, I brake only 10% now because of not exceeding the grip of the front tires. So I made slide a bit the car, and what we have to aim is to touch this curb, but not go on the yellow curbs because it will be unsettle a little bit your car in this corner. So you do a line like that, and you can use all the track, also a little bit more than me in this lap in that corner on the exit. And yeah, that's pretty much it about this corner. It's not much to say actually. This one is a very tough corner. So first of all, what you have to do is use all the track that you can. As you can see, I'm very on the limit of the curve, like very near to the grass. And then I'm start to turn before braking because I want to like to point the nose on this corner, as you can see. And you start to brake at the end of the curve pretty much, or you can take also the 50-meter board as a reference again.
The way that, Amedeo, the way that I like to kind of conceptualize that concept of kind of tilting the car before you brake is you're aiming at your target before you end up braking. I think that's kind of a way that I conceptualized it when I was driving. Is that a decent way of explaining that to maybe somebody that doesn't quite understand that?
Yeah, the thing that like you're doing that also because this car have a lot of understeer, so you want to prepare the entry very soon with this car. And also because, as you can see, like when I'm braking, I'm also going a little bit less with the steering. Like now you see, as soon as I start to brake, like my steer angle like decreased. Because with this technique, like you can brake for more time with a steering wheel straight. Because like you always want, or pretty much always, to brake with a steering wheel straight. Because when your steering wheel is straight, you have more surface of the tires on the track.
We got to do the jerry rigged thing real quick. Chat just holds tight. Don't worry. Amedeo's beautiful face will be back briefly. We just have to, we're on a budget here at Trackalicious when it comes to Zoom, and we don't have the full version of Zoom, so we just have to create a new call. Amedeo has to send me a link real quick. So bear with us, chat. But in the meantime, how is this doing? Does anyone make any sense? Does anyone have any questions while we get this next bit set up? The one thing that you mentioned that I also want to touch on when we do come back is the fact that you'd mentioned that the AMG in particular has you have to set up the corner very early because it's very understeer, so you're kind of predicting, you're almost shooting the corner short because you know you're going to go wide. Would that be different in the McLaren? Again, we can touch on that here in a minute. But the McLaren, I just use an example, McLaren, Porsche, mid-engine to rear-engine cars, would that be a little bit different? How's the link coming along, Amedeo?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not fast as driving.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, because it's actually not working properly. That's not a good thing.
We might have to just do this without your face. We'll just have to have my face on there, which would be a dang shame.
Okay, maybe I got it.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen. How's it going, Carbon? Welcome, Carbon. Let's see. Ladies and gentlemen, I think it has worked. I'll mute myself on that end.
Yeah.
Bring you up over here. And then we should be able to click one button. And it's back. Ladies and gentlemen, he's back.
Good. Hi again, guys.
We have fixed it. Apologies on the minor technical hims and whoos, but we get through it here. All right, back to the action.
Yeah. So we are talking about the Acque Minerali corner. You can get Italian pronunciation in this streaming, guys, so extra values. Anyway, we are talking about the fact that I was steering before going into the brakes, because as I said, you want to brake with straight steer wheel for more time as possible, because when your steering wheel is straight, like you will have more surface of the tires that are connected to the asphalt. So of course you will have like more grip to use because more tires is on the asphalt. so you can brake with more aggressively, and yeah, it's actually a faster way to do a corner. And then in this corner, you can take also, if you want, the inside the yellow curve, but I mean it's not a big gain taking it or not taking it. Then, but you can aim to it. Basically, you want to stay very tight in this corner, because if you don't stay tight, you will go very wide, and it's not good actually. And another thing that you do in this corner, as you can see, um, in this phase I'm braking, then I'm going a bit on throttle for two reasons. One, because like I actually made the corner and I want to be faster also in this small phase. Second, because I'm touching a little bit with the right tires the yellow curves in this moment. So as I said before, it helped to take it better going on throttle. But you can see, like, was just a small moment that I'm going on throttle before braking again, but you gain a little bit by doing that anyway. And then again, you want to brake. When you are braking, you see I'm start to brake and my steering wheel goes straight again. And you won't brake very aggressively in this corner. As you can see, I'm braking like 90%, 80%, because you are also on downhill, so it's more easy to lock up the tires. And I want to use all the track again on the left in this part of the track. And as you can see, I'm going very aggressively again on the steering wheel, because I want to rotate this car, because this car is very understeer, and I'm still braking 50%, which is way a lot compared to what you can do with a GT3. Like if you go that aggressively, will be an issue probably. And then, as you can see, you want to go on throttle very soon in this corner. A common mistake that I saw is that people are compromising a lot the exit of this corner, which is a very bad thing, because you always want to prepare better the exit than the entry in a lap, especially when you have a straight after a corner. And like you don't have a very long straight after this corner, but it's long enough that forward to have a good exit there. And so basically what you want to do is going on throttle before the start of the corner will be the perfect thing. And it always helps to take the yellow curves. And as you can see, I used all the track also on the left. I will watch that also on the external camera, because it's helped to get it. As you can see, all the track there, also very tight on the right corner, and using all the track on the exit. Like the limit of track limits, it's very close. Like if you touch the yellow curves there, it's a warning for track limits. So that is where you want to stay.
I also noticed there when you're on the second part here, so coming up to this part, you can keep it playing here. Yeah. We're going to be kind of beginning our turn, as we get the wheel basically straight for a half a second, not even, start the turn, and we punch the throttle immediately, and then sort of lift off back down to about 80%, and then get back on to 100. Now, is that just because you're trying to negotiate the curbs and not basically spin your wheels when you're going over the curbs?
That's a very thing that not everyone know, but on ACC, basically the throttle model, it's a kind of old throttle model. So basically, when your RPM are low, if you are going 100% throttle or 80% throttle, like you will not have the same torque of a higher RPM. Like it's lower than what should be. So especially with the turbo car, you can see a lot of top drivers that are doing the thing of going 100% throttle for a moment and then going back to 80% throttle because of that thing, because you don't have all the power that you should have when you are on low RPM. And in that corner, I'm on low RPM because I'm third gear, but yeah, I'm not on high RPM. So yeah, that's a very technical thing. Yeah. But yeah, you can see a lot of drivers doing that thing, especially with the Aston Martin or with the 296 Ferrari. But yeah, that's a very small thing that like is not making all the difference.
Okay, so but, chat, you don't need to pay too much attention to that one if you're on the rookie level. Focus more on the entry. As Amedeo said, slow in, fast out is, I think, the biggest thing to learn for it, is setting up your entry to get a solid exit out, because not only can you get a good exit here, make up lap time, but you can also potentially make up a position. Variante Alta is a very overtakeable corner. You can make a move happen there, so.
Yeah, exactly. As you can see, anyway, I was really on the limit on the exit because I made a very small counter steer in this moment. So also because you go from downhill to uphill, so the car it's unsettled a little bit in this part of the track. So there we can go off to the next corner.
I feel like, hold on, can we touch back though a little bit, because I feel like the exit of that corner is very important. I see way too many cars spun around there on the exit. So we've established when it comes to the tilting and getting the car positioned onto those curbs nicely, but then coming up for the exit for the second part, you mentioned not to run wide. Where are we placing our car here, is like after this part and attacking this? Because I feel like this corner is more important than we're kind of talking. I feel like it's very easy to mess up.
You mean these left
this
corner,
little,
right?
Yeah, this little left-hander. Yeah, exactly. It's very deceptive, but I feel like we see a lot of people wheel spin here, especially in the McLaren. I think that's what the mid to rear engine cars, I noticed this a lot in, is they face the wrong way there. Now, is that because they're getting too much power? Is that because you'd mentioned the little bit of unsettling with the weight shift in terms of the elevation? What causes that, and what's a good way of preventing that for some drivers?
Yeah, I mean, probably the worst part is that one, because you end from the curbs and you have also to turn a bit on the left, and the track start to go very uphill. And I mean, basically what you have to do is actually prepare it before well, because if you have a wrong line like that, if you have a wrong line in this moment, you can't do much. Like the only thing that you can do is like don't go on throttle, like compromise a lot your exit. The main thing that you have to do is prepare good the entry, because a lot of time you have a bad exit because actually you are preparing bad the entry of the corner. So you have to start to think on the exit on the entry. For like you have to put the car on the right place, and the best thing is like go a lot wider in this moment, so you will have more space to take this corner. It's more easy. Like the best thing to do is like maybe entry very smooth in this corner. Don't like push too much on the entry in this moment. Just make sure to be in the correct line in this corner, like to place your car in this position there. Start to turn very early for this corner and going on throttle very early and be very tight.
Gotcha.
And if your line is wrong there, the only thing that you can do is basically going like more careful on throttle for try to don't spin the car, and try to avoid these yellow things. Like if you are too wide, maybe go in the outside, like do a line like that. More on the outside,
just to feel it, explore it. Yeah, yep, exactly. That makes sense. Okay. No, that's a really good point. Now, just so basically get good. No, it's just practice the entries, make sure your entries are good. And then I think that I'm going to have to try it myself, is that on throttle on entry. I think that's going to be a game changer for a lot of drivers that end up watching this tutorial.
Yeah, because another thing is, if you are wide in this moment, you will probably need to turn a lot while you are on throttle for don't take the track limits or go in the outside. So that's why you see a lot of people spun the car, because in this moment, if you are wider, you will have your left rear tire a lot loaded, because the corner is on the right and you have also an uphill, so you have like a lot of load on the rear left tire. So the rear left tire is already on the limit, and when you go on throttle, like you are asking even more to the rear tires, so you will easily spin the car, because as you can see in this moment I'm perfectly straight with the steering. If you are wider before, like in that part, you still have to turn on the right in this moment if you are wider. So it's all on the entry that you have to prepare.
Makes sense.
Then we go to the Variante Alta. It's another very tough corner. As you can see, like my exit wasn't perfect in that lap. I remember the lap where I nailed it better was actually a lot sooner. This lap, probably. Yeah. So you can see the proper line. What you have to do in this corner is braking at the start of the curve there, when you see basically this triangle. You go all on the left much as possible for use all the track available. Then you start to turn before this triangle. I mean, I allowed before this triangle. And that's another corner when you want to go on throttle, as you can see, before hitting the curb, also because the curb in this chicane is massive. And another thing it helps in this chicane is going with a lot of steering. It helps to stabilize the car in this corner. So you can go even with more degrees of that if you need it.
Interesting.
And what you want to do is stay tighter as possible before taking a warning, basically on the right corner. Because if you stay more tighter, you have a better line for the left corner, which is the important because you want to prepare the exit. The limit for the track limits, it's kinda hard to get, honestly. Probably I was very on the limit in this lap. But basically, what you want to do is to not hit too much this inside curb because you can take it as a reference for track limits. Like this lap was fine, and as you can see by my POV, I was basically aiming in the middle between the two curbs. I mean, more on the big curb. That's where you have to aim. Then after going off throttle, if you like enter with a lot of speed in the first part, you can also tap the brake in the middle of the two corners a little bit if you need. I just made like by 5% in this lap because my entry wasn't like was smooth, so I didn't have to brake much. And as you can see, I'm always a bit on throttle for helping the car to take the curves. And as you can see, the bounce wasn't that bad in that lap for that reason.
So
and then yeah.
Sorry to cut you off there. AV6 Scott in chat pointing out that he drives the AMG as well, but he actually uses second gear in there. So what would be the difference between that? So you're using third, obviously, and you're able just to carry more speed as a result. Now, why would what would be a solution, I guess, or I mean, obviously trying it out, but I guess what would be a different approach for somebody that's maybe using the wrong gear on that one to try to correct themselves into the right direction?
I mean, probably, I mean, also second gear, I think it's not helping you, especially on entry, because it's more easy to lock up the differential because you will have a lot of high RPM if you don't shift to second gear in this phase. And also the traction is just easier with third gear, also because you are bouncing a lot anyway in these curves, so third gear is just more easy. The thing that you have to do for do this corner fast is just be smooth, use all the track and the corner will be fast. You just need to be focused on don't let the car bounce too much.
Now,
Anyway, the gear is not that important if you use second gear or third gear.
Okay.
Where you made the lap time in this corner is using correctly the curbs.
Gotcha. It's the line. The line's more important than the gear choice. That makes sense. It's just if you're able to keep the car under control. Now, is that the same line for the McLaren and the Porsche, for example? There's a question from Shoots on the YouTube side of things. Welcome, Shoots. Would that be the same issue, or not issue, but would that be the same line for those types of cars?
Yeah. Maybe with MG it's just a bit easier, but all the car can do this line because also all the GT3s that are lower can do this line on this corner. The only thing that you have to be focused is again going on throttle before taking the curb.
Gotcha.
Use also a lot of steer, I will say, like 90 degrees of steering. It's also helping to stabilize the car in this corner. And that's basically it. Like make sure you are not braking when you are over this curb because that will be complicated thing because the car will be very lower to the ground. So that's all what you have to care on.
Gotcha. Again, I think the biggest takeaway there is using throttle on entrance. I think, again, that's just one of the biggest game changers to take away from this stream.
Yeah, especially on this track is a very important tips to do. And then, on the exit, you can use all the track, basically. As you can see, I'm very on the limit. Like, the track limits is if you go with 4 tires off of this red curb, you will get a track limits. So that was very on the limit. And of course, you don't want to hit these yellow curbs because you will lose time. I just like it a little bit, and I don't lost too much time, luckily. Then we can go for the last 2 corner, I think. What you have to do there, first of all, is to don't go too soon on the right there. But as you can see, I'm going all on the left on this moment. I'm showing also by the POV. You want to stay very near to this curve, because there you start to turn and you want to stay straight with the wheel as soon as possible, because if you start to go on the right very soon, you will still have to turn a bit on the right in this moment, so the braking will be not completely straight, which is a bad thing, because if the braking phase is all straight, it's just more simple to do it. You have all under control, the car is more stable, the car has more grip, more braking force, so it's always better, basically. You want to use also a bit of the curb on the right in this corner, as you can see, like just using a bit of it for have more space to take the last two corner. Also, the brake reference is the 100-meter board. You brake a little bit sooner than that. As you can see, you can still see it while I'm start braking. And then you downshift to second gear in this corner. And you want to stay very, very tight on the entry. And as you can see, I'm turning again very aggressively for try to induce an oversteer on this car, because again, it's a very understeer car. So you can see I'm tail braking also, because I'm braking on 30% while I'm turning 90 degrees. Again, don't brake too much or you will lock up the front tires. And you want to aim to stay like on the inside curb a lot, like on the green carpet. This green carpet is where you want to put the left tires. Then you go on throttle basically when you are on the apex of this corner, so you go on throttle very soon. All of the track on the right, like much as possible, as you can see. And also for the entry of this corner, as you can see, I'm very on the limit of the gravel, because you need to prepare very, very well the exit, because after this corner you will have a very long straight. So as you can see, what you have to do also in this corner is don't take too much the yellow curb, or better, don't take it at all. Because if you take the yellow curb in this corner, is a big issue. Because if it's just a small bounce in this corner will compromise your exit, because the car can go a little bit wider, and if you touch the gravel on this exit, you will lose like 1/2 a lot of times. So you want to be very sure to prepare better as possible the exit of this corner, and you do that by using all the track on entry, as you can see, also by the POV. You also brake very, very smooth on this corner. You can see I'm braking just 20%. And as you can see, since I brake and the car starts to rotate a lot, I also go a bit on throttle for stabilize again the rear, because I was maybe sliding too much also, because on this corner you want a very stable car for have a good exit. So as I said before, for stabilize the car you go a bit on throttle, and you can clearly see that or in this moment also, because I'm turning even more, so I want more stability. Depends on the corner. This corner, the car is rotating a lot. If you do use all the track like I made in this moment, brake a little bit and turning, so the car is starting to rotate a lot. It overturned a little bit in this lap, so I need it to go a bit on throttle for stabilize it. And then you want also to go on throttle very, very soon. As you can see, like I'm on the apex and I'm almost 90% throttle, because like the key for the last corner is to prepare the exit. It's very, very important. And then it's basically the lap of Imola. Like last thing that you have to do, it's also on the race you do a line like that. On qualifying, if you just want to gain also a bit of 1,000, you can go all on the right on this small corner for do like less road, less space,
Shorter
And
the
if you
line.
want to, yeah, exactly. If you want to prepare the lap, like you are in the auto lap on qualifying, the line that you can do is like that, as you can see. Basically, it's the opposite. Like I'm tighter now, and then I go straight, so I'm doing more, as you said before, the word,
A little bit
like
longer to the
more.
line. Yeah, you're basically
Exactly.
gaining 1 mile an hour, but you're adding a little bit of track on. So you're going to be having when you're reaching Tamburello, you're going to have a faster closing speed on your out lap. And when you're going to be doing your hot lap, you don't care about your next lap. So you can compromise your line to the next lap and be able to, sure, I'm going to lose a couple thousandths on my next lap, but I'm not doing my next lap. So I don't care. I want to minimize the amount of space that I have to travel on this racetrack on this one lap.
Yeah. Basically, on the out lap, you do the line like that. At the end of your hot lap on qualifying, you do the tighter line. And on race pace, you stay on the middle because it's the better way. Like, it's a compromise. And yeah, that's the lap on Imola. If you have some question, guys, I'm free, or I think it's all from my side. I don't know, Mike, if you have any question.
Yeah, why don't we just do one run through of a hot lap real quick, just a full on of the hot lap while everybody in chat here has a chance. If you guys have any questions, now's the best time to get them out. Any unanswered questions that we have. I feel like we did a really good job of hitting a lot of them, though. A lot of the basics that a lot of rookies end up making mistakes on, which is obviously what we're targeting with this one, is the Rookie League that is going to be next week on Imola. If that's something that interests you, !SimGrid to find more information about that.
Cool. So that's the full lap.
Awesome. And like I said, now's the time. So we're looking here over to the right-hand side for that orange braking board right at the marshal's post. Nice and hard on the brakes. Try to straddle those two orange curbs. Kind of clip that one in the second part. And then again, trying to straddle as much as you can, but get as close to the track limits as possible. Then for the setup on this one, braking in between the 100 and the 50, somewhere in that range, wherever you find it comfortable. Managing to, the corners happen quick here. Trying to bump just take a little bit of the curb as a little as you can, but also trying to maximize the track then into, why don't you take over from here? I'm already behind.
What do you mean? Sorry?
Just kind of sum up, just a general sum up of what we've learned today. Just very short.
Yeah. In this corner you want to rotate like pretty quickly the corner also for prepare the exit. And yeah, then we go for the actually Piratella, and we want to brake at 50 meters, go very aggressively on the steering wheel, go in throttle very soon, use all the track on entry and exit. Then for the Acque Minerali, we want to use all the track on the left, start to point in the car very soon, then use all the track on the left, going on throttle very soon, a bit wider in that lap, actually. But yeah, that you want is prepare the exit for this corner. There in Variante Alta, we want to go on throttle before hitting both curbs, as I said. And you see, I steered a lot and the car bounced pretty well. And yeah, just hitting the throttle before going on the yellow curbs, and it's all better for let the car bounce less. There you brake at 100 meter board. You downshift to second gear, steer quite aggressively, going on the inside curb. Again, you want a stable car, touching a little bit the curb. As I said, if you touch the curb like that, you lose a bit of time. In fact, that lap was a bit worse to the last corner than the other lap. And that's the line if you want to prepare another lap, actually. And yeah, awesome. That's it.
That is Imola chat, the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo Idino Ferrari. That I butchered. I gave up midway through because I had messed up the front, but that's okay.
I will give 8 of 10 to this pronunciation. Was good.
I'll take it. It was an attempt. But Amedeo, thank you so much for helping us out here on this track guide, helping out the community here at TRACKILICIOUS. I hope you guys in the community find this useful. This has been very useful for me. I've learned a lot, so I hope you guys in chat have as well. This has been a very, very nice experience. We got a lot of people here cheering us on. Legends, thanks. Hope you guys enjoy the VOD. Definitely head on over to YouTube. It's going to be available immediately if there were any pointers that you missed. But if you're looking for any more coaching, Amedeo, why don't you tell us a little bit about where these fine folks can find a little bit more information about coaching?
Yeah, you can find some information about my coaching session if you want on my Discord channel. And yeah, you can like book a session with me if you want to prepare, for example, to a championship, to a daily race, whatever you want. I can help you on the setup or like a track guide as you see today. Like more focus on your maybe bad habits, like compare my telemetry to your telemetry, see what is different, and yeah, ask me any question that you want to know basically about setup or like driving style, whatever you want. And you can find also like different session, like 1 month session if you want to do more, like only one session, whatever you want. Basically, you will find every information on my Discord, and if you have any question, you can just write me on private message on Discord or on any social where you can find me, basically.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Amedeo. And again, thank you all in chat for being here. The stream is brought to you by you, pretty much. So thank you guys, chat, for that one. We'll be back next week for the real event. The meat and potatoes is getting back into it. We've had the off season here at TRACKILICIOUS for a little bit. We're going to get back into the championships. We got GT3s, we got GT4s, we got Hotlap, we got everything you can think of. !SimGrid. We also have some iRacing as well. If that's something that suits your fancy, head on over to the TRACKILICIOUS SimGrid link in the chat, link in the description if you're over on the YouTube side of things. But as it stands, I think that's going to do it for today. I hope everyone's had a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are in this fine world. Amedeo, thank you again so much for this coaching. But I hope everyone has a fine evening, afternoon, morning. And thank you, and good night.
Yeah, good night for me, actually.